Hello everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here, joined by regular contributor Jamie Rigotti.
Hey.
You can see her Twitch account, it'll be in the video description. Go check out her when she is streaming, which I don't know how regular your schedule is. You were kind of talking about that. How regular is your schedule nowadays, Jamie?
I stream pretty much every Monday, Tuesday, Friday. Those are definitely days you can find me on. And then sometimes Wednesdays, sometimes
Oh,
Sundays.
wow, okay, so she is... Well, as long as you know her regular days, then that'll be a fine way to find out the schedule for the remaining days of the week. But today is an exciting day. We're going to go through some spoilers for... What is it? Ixalan? Ixalan? I would assume it's Ixalan.
I think it's Ixalan, yeah.
Okay. And this is a very weird format already. We were just talking about how the creature types in this are a bit unusual. So we've got... we have pirates, we have merfolk, we have dinosaurs, and we have vampires as well. So a lot of just sort of odd creature types thrown together. Actually, to me, I think the pirates and merfolk make the most sense together, because you have the explorers on the water, and then you have the, you know, ocean dwellers, or the ones living under the water. But the dinosaurs I don't really get, and the vampire inclusion I don't exactly get, so anybody who has an explanation on that, that would be much appreciated. But we're going to go through the cards. Some of the cards I'm going to give my perspective and ask for Jamie's opinion. Some of them I'm going to ask for her opinion first, and then I'm going to give my opinion. That way we won't influence each other on all of them. So why don't we start it off with Wakening Sun's Avatar. This is Mythic, 5 and 3 white. It's a 7/7 dinosaur avatar. And when it enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, destroy all non-dinosaur creatures. What do you think of this one, Jamie?
Um, it's like a wrath and a dinosaur, and it's real big.
It is huge. It's is
It
8
seems
mana
exciting.
even is 8 mana going to be realistic to get to in
Wh-
most limited formats?
well, there's going to be treasures in here, so that might help with the ramp. We're not really sure what the complete ramp picture is, but
That's
three
true.
white is a little intense.
Yes.
Um, I think I would probably always play it, but I don't know how highly I would prioritize it.
That's going to be tough too, I agree. You know,
Yeah.
what's funny is usually 7 mana is the cutoff point for limited first picks for me. When it comes
Oh
to a
yeah.
7 drop, I'm like, well, I probably don't want to first pick this. It is 7 mana. This one's 8 mana, but I feel like I would still probably first pick this. Granted, it doesn't have trample. Like, a big fat body matters a little bit less if they don't have some sort of ability like trample or something, or lifelink even. But this does presumably clear the board and then just start beating in. So it's a pretty good looking win condition. I guess the non-dinosaur clause is kind of a big deal in this format, right? Because you have to assume some of your opponents are going to be playing dinosaurs.
I mean, yeah, just on this page we already see a few other ones. So like I don't
Yes.
know how many what the dinosaur count is, but it seems like they're gonna at least have one or two maybe.
So
I don't
it's,
know.
yeah, so it's not always going to be a one-sided wrath. So maybe this
Right.
isn't always a slam first pick. It is 8 mana, it's color intensive. But like you said, we got to read more about these treasure cards, because this treasure, actually seen treasure in the past too, with the card Guild, if you remember that one. We can look that up real quick. But I think that was the first time I saw uh, treasure was with Guild. So this
Hmm.
was create a colorless artifact token named Gold. It has sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So this is the new ones are actually called Treasure, not Gold. Is that right?
Yes. And I
Okay.
think that's because pirates find treasure, not just gold,
I
right?
see. Okay. So I wonder if they're going to... They probably won't, but it would be cool if they maybe updated this one. Because it is the same sacrifice thing, right? Sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana.
Hmm.
Okay. So I assume Guild was the inspiration for this effect. There might even be one other card that makes gold too that I've sort of forgotten about. But yeah, I don't quite know if Wakening Sun's Avatar is a first pick, mostly because it's an 8-drop. It's only a 7/7, no evasion, no lifelink, no trample, and it's not even necessarily a one-sided board wipe. It
Right.
basically, it is nice though, a board wipe that you still end up netting a 7/7, but There may be a lot of playable dinosaurs. There probably are a lot of playable dinosaurs in this format, so it's not always going to get rid of everything that you want it to. So as far as a first pick, I'm saying probably not, actually. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty cool. Like, I want to first pick it. I feel like if it was one less mana, because the triple
Yeah.
planes is really throwing me
No,
off
you're
too.
right. And I mean, 8 mana is huge and limited. It's
Yeah.
very difficult to get to. All right, the next card is a pretty exciting one because there's some already crazy stuff going on with it. Jace, Cunning, Castaway. So we have a new Jace Planeswalker. This is 1 and 2 blue. It comes in with 3 loyalty. It has +1 whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player this turn, draw a card, then discard a card. -2, create a 2/2 blue illusion creature with, when it becomes the target of a spell, sacrifice it. And then -5, create 2 tokens that are copies of Jace, Cunning, Castaway, except they're not legendary. Alright, so first we can go over the obvious brokenness with Doubling Season. So Doubling Season is, I believe it's counters and tokens are doubled. Maybe it's just counters. I think it is tokens too, though. Either way, it's definitely counters. So you pay 3 mana, you get 6 loyalty when Jace enters, you ultimate it, you get 2 more Jace, they both enter as 6, and it goes infinite. You get to keep ultimating, and the other one will just keep making 2/2 blue illusions. So it's a 2-card infinite combo. In Standard, we have Anointed Procession. I suppose we could have just looked at Doubling Season real quick, but we'll look up Anointed Procession as well. And this one is, if an effect would create 1 or more tokens under your control, it creates twice that many of those tokens instead. So we look at that with Jace's ultimate. We're going to get 4 copies of Jace, and then when we create these 2/2 blue illusions with those copy Jaces, we're going to get 8 blue illusions. So it does multiply. It puts quite the big multiplier on Jace, and that's in Standard. So we can expect to see some Jace Anointed Procession shenanigans going on. Sam is kind of a little bit more of the Standard expert than I think Jamie and I. We tend to just draft all the time, but I'll definitely ask Sam about that when we record our spoiler video together. But yes, Jace is a pretty exciting card from my perspective, regardless of if you're abusing it or not. What do you think, Jamie?
I'm very distracted with his outfit.
Like
I kind of
the
can't
shoulder
get past
exposed look?
That's really something. Yeah, I mean, I think he's pretty dang solid, right?
Yes, definitely.
That's first pickable.
If you make the copies of Jace and they both +1 too, the amount of card draw you can get out of this is actually kind of insane. You
Yeah.
have like 3 Jaces out and you +1 all of them. So it's like each time one of your creatures deals combat damage, you draw 3, discarding 3 or something. So that's kind of nuts. Really lets you dig hard.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, it's definitely a strong Planeswalker. Just that I feel like they didn't give too much thought to how broken it is with Doubling Season, though. So I'm not exactly sure why they did that. But maybe it's just because it's an old, card, so it only really affects older formats where 5 mana spells aren't really that big of a deal anyway. Yeah, and it is. Doubling Season is both, so you get twice as many tokens and twice as many counters. Pretty nuts. Yeah, so Jace, already seeing how it's broken, but just in Limited, obviously going to be fantastic. Planeswalkers are a lot of fun to play in Limited, with the exception being Samet was not so good in our Devastation. Passed a lot, and now I think Samet is as low as like 50 cents value or something like that.
Ooh,
so no one cares. Next is Deathless Ancient. 4 and 2 black, Vampire Knight. It's got flying. You tap 3 untapped vampires you control, and you can return it from your graveyard to your hand. And it's an uncommon. What do you think about this one, Jamie?
I like it for Vampire Tribal. I mean, that's great. 4/4 flyer.
Would you play a 6 mana 4/4 flyer outside?
I would not.
What if it was the only vampire in your deck?
No, I wouldn't play it. It needs to be like, yeah, you need to get more value out of it. Like, have some vampire synergies. I don't know if there's going to be like a vampire lord to pump your vampires. Like, that seems like it would be great. Right. But it's a build around. You want to be able to get it back. 6 mana for 4/4 is not exciting.
No, you're right. And we can compare this to the one from Hour of Devastation that is cycling, that I think neither of us are super impressed with. I forget what
Nope.
the name of it is, but
The angel?
yeah.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So
I
there's
pass
6
it all
mana
the time.
4/4 angel with cycling 2, and I've passed that card plenty. So despite being maybe just 6 mana 4/4 in most modern day formats are really not nearly as good as they used to be. I mean, if you look at like Sarah Angel and Air Elemental from the older formats, that was a 5 mana 4/4, and those had like extra abilities. So you're right. I think Deathless Ancient is not extremely exciting outside of Vampire Tribal, but yeah, definitely, basically an unkillable 4/4 flyer if you have the vampires to keep bringing it back is kind of nice.
You still
So
have to recast it, though. It's not
true.
like it goes to the battlefield. So there's that real true cost.
And 3 untapped vampires is quite a bit to have in addition
Yeah.
to this to bring it
If you're
back
playing
as well.
vampires, you probably want to be attacking. So, right. Like, is that even, like, going to be feasible?
I guess I wouldn't mind it on the top end as like a one of. I'm sure we're going to see it a few times in limited, but you're right, I'm not particularly excited by it. All right, next we have a Rowdy Crew, 2/2 red, 3/3 mythic human pirate. It's got trample. When it enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards at random. If 2 cards that share a card type are discarded this way, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Rowdy Crew. So 4 mana 3/3 trample, not bad. Enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards, discard 2 cards at random. Very red in nature, the discard at random. If the 2 cards share a card type, which doesn't seem too difficult, right? If you discard 2 lands, it comes in as a 4 mana, 5/5 trample. Either way, I'm a big fan of this card. I think this is a phenomenal limited card. You're getting card advantage because you're draw 3, discarding 2, so that's already good. It's, at worst, it's a 4 mana 3/3 trample. You get to cantrip buff if you're drawing a card. The fact that you get 3 cards and discard 2 at random does mean that you could end up losing maybe a card that you really wanted to hold on to from those cards drawn. But regardless, there's a lot going on with this card, and I think it's very, very good.
It's getting me that you have to discard at random.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little, yeah, iffy, right?
Yes, it's unusual too. We haven't seen it in a
Yeah.
while, the discard at random. But that is a red. That's definitely a red ability. I'm a big fan of this card. I give it a big thumbs up. I think
Yeah.
this is gonna be. I mean, the icing on the cake is getting the 2 +1/+1 counters, but like I said, just getting a 4 mana 3/3 trample, draw a card in red, very, very good. Getting that
Yeah, it
card
seems good.
advantage plus a creature. So I think Rowdy Crew is fantastic. And on top of that, it's a pirate, so it's even an irrelevant creature type for the format. Moving on, we have Kumena's Omen Speakers. This is a green for a green merfolk creature, and it gets +1/+1 as long as you control another merfolk or island, and it's a 1/1. So what do you think of this one, Jamie?
It seems fine. It's not that exciting on its own, obviously, but like, yeah, getting a 2/2 for 1 mana is always great.
Definitely.
If you're playing like green blue, or you'll probably have more merfolk.
Definitely. I have to assume green-blue is going to be the merfolk colors. I mean, we can immediately assume blue is going to be a merfolk color. So are we going to see a lot more merfolk in green? I think the answer is yes, too. There's a few more. So yeah, it's working perfectly for what you want your merfolk to do anyway. And a 1-mana 2/2, although if you play it on turn 1, it's going to be a 1/1, but you can immediately make it a 2/2 on your second turn, and I think it's very good. I definitely think you're going to play as many of these as you can get if you're playing Merfolk Tribal, so I gave it a big thumbs up. Nice cost for benefit. Alright, next we have Bishop of Rebirth. 3 and 2 white, 3/4, rare vampire cleric creature. It has vigilance, and when it attacks, you may return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's a fantastically powerful effect. So we've seen this on Devoted Cropmate, which was devoted converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard when you exert it. This is 3 or less, and it's got vigilance, and you can do it every turn. Very, very strong effect. So I think this is a fantastic card, and it's a vampire. So once again, relevant creature type for the format. I think this is absolutely slam dunk first pick. What do you think?
Yes,
Jamie?
yes. Everything's right about it. I mean, a 3/4 for 5 vigilance is like fine. That'd be fine. But like add that second part and you're like, whoa, this is nuts. So yeah, I dig it.
Definitely. I think on top of that too, I like the 3/4 more than the 4/3. Like we have
Mm,
that Jeru guy from Hour of Devastation, who's the 5 mana 4/3 vigilance, and he's been
yeah.
so underwhelming. But I
Hmm.
honestly think if he'd been a 3/4, he would have gone over so much better. Basically, having the 4 toughness on a vigilance creature, I think is better than having the 3 toughness. So
Yeah,
this is a very good card, very powerful, and I think it's going to do a lot of legwork in limited. All right. Next we have Deeproot Waters, 2 and a blue enchantment. Whenever you cast a Merfolk spell, create a 1/1 blue Merfolk creature token with hexproof. All right. What do you think, Jamie? Worth it or not?
that's super interesting. I would say it depends on how many merfolk spells you have, but it seems like if you're going to play merfolk, you want to have a mass amount of them anyway. So it seems good. A 1/1 hexproof, and if you can throw like enchantments on it, that could be really strong.
What do you think the minimum Merfolk count would be where you would feel comfortable playing this in limited?
I would say 10.
I think I can agree with that. 10 sounds like a reasonable number. And remember, you have to cast a Merfolk spell. So the fact that it says cast a Merfolk spell, is that implying that we're going to see more than just Merfolk creatures? Are there going to be Merfolk tribal spells? I presume not, because I think they did away with tribal spells. But as we go through these spoilers more, we'll have to find out. It is interesting that it didn't say whenever you cast a Merfolk creature spell. It said whenever you
Yeah.
cast a Merfolk spell. Maybe the translation is wrong on that actually, but we'll find out. Next we have Blood-crazed Paladin. This card's kind of cool. 1 and a black, 1/1 flash vampire knight, rare creature, and when it enters the battlefield, it gets a +1/+1 counter on it for each creature that died this turn. Now this is clearly relevant because it has flash, so say your opponent all out attacks, you do like 4 trades, this thing would enter with 8 +1/+1 counters on it because 8
Ew.
creatures would have traded and gone away. So this thing is going to be a nasty little 2-drop that you
Yeah.
really have to pay attention to if you know that your opponent's got it and they're setting you up for a good block or trade or whatever. Got to be conscious of the Blood-crazed Paladin. So I think this is a great card. Even if it's just
Definitely. It's
one trade,
scary.
Jamie. Even if it's just one trade. This instant
Right.
2 mana 3/3 flash. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like it.
I'm excited about vampires, honestly. They look
Yeah,
great.
definitely. It's so weird that they're being thrown in here now. And we have seen black-white vampires before too. I think Innistrad had the black-red, but black-white vampires were also in I don't remember what's because I just remember Sorin was a black-white uh, vampire planeswalker.
Hmm.
But yeah, we have seen white vampires before. We've seen white zombies now too from Hour of Devastation. So it seems like they're really going for the bad creatures in primarily good colors thing for the last couple sets. All right, next we have Sun-Crowned Hunters, which have a new mechanic we can talk about. So this is a 4 and 2 red, 6 mana, 5/4 dinosaur common, and it has Enrage. So Enrage is whenever Sun-Crowned Hunters is dealt damage, it deals 3 damage to target opponent. So we can assume Enrage is whenever it's dealt damage, effect happens. What do you think about this card, Jamie?
I'm all about it. 5/4 for 6 seems great. And then yeah, the enrage, so they don't really want to block it. Like when you're putting it out. If you're in red, I'm assuming you've beat them down a good bit by the time you put a 6-drop out. So it's going to be tough for them to kind of deal with. And maybe you can use a spell on your own guy to finish them off. It's exciting.
Very exciting because whenever it's dealt damage, so maybe you have like, what if you have like a little pinger? You can just
Right?
ping your little Sun-Crowned Hunters every turn, get it mad at your opponent, deal 3 damage to them. So yeah, this card's good.
Perfect.
Very good. I like it. 5/4 for 6 is not like hugely exciting, and on top
No.
of that, it's double red. But
Yeah.
I do think the Enrage ability puts your opponent in a relatively tough spot if they're low on life and you're attacking with a bunch of creatures, because they're like, well, damn, if I block the Sun-Crowned Hunters, I'm going to take 3. If I don't block it, I'm going to take 5. So can be putting them in a very difficult spot, but I like it as well. Next we have Ripjaw Raptor, 2 and 2 green, rare dinosaur. It's a 4/5, and whenever it's dealt damage, draw a card. This card seems like the real deal. This is
Yeah.
insane. This is definitely a slam first pick in limited. You
A
don't want to block
4/5.
it unless you're killing it, and even if you're
Yeah,
killing it, they're getting a card. So very, very
that's
good.
amazing for a 4/5 for 4. Like, just sign me up for that. And then
Already good.
yeah,
And then on top of that, netting you cards whenever it's blocked. So
it's
really,
great.
really good. And actually, I didn't even realize this, but it's whenever it's dealt damage. So
Right, correct.
wouldn't that mean if it was double blocked, two different sources are dealing damage to it, or is it all the damage is happening at once, so just the triggers once?
I don't know. Whenever it does dealt damage. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good judge question.
So we'll have to figure that one out. I'm going to assume it's the more balanced version. So whenever it's dealt damage, I think because all the damage is happening at once, you only see one number come up on their toughness. It's not like, but it is multiple sources dealing the damage. But I think
Hmm.
because all the damage is dealt at once, it's just going to be one enrage trigger, regardless of how many creatures are blocking it. That's my assumption. All right, next we have Bellowing Aegisaur. So this is 5 and a white for an uncommon dinosaur. It's a 3/5, and it has Enrage. Bellowing Aegisaur is whenever it's dealt damage, put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control. Okay, Jamie, what's your opinion of
Whoa,
this one?
whoa. It's
Yeah,
a little expensive, but I mean, if you're like a go wide strategy, that seems great.
yeah,
You can somehow
definitely.
like damage your own dude, just put counters on stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
if there's like pingers, oh my,
and
that
if you
sounds
leave it
great.
back as a blocker, your opponent
Yeah.
has to be terrified to attack into something like this too, because like
Yeah.
if I attack
And
into
he's
this,
super cute.
or what if they attack with like think about it this way too. They attack with like a first striker and a bunch of other creatures. You get to block their first striker with the Aegisaur, block their other guys. This takes damage first, buffs your other creature, then your other creatures deal damage before regular combat damages happen. So that's actually pretty scary. This seems like a crazy blocker, also a pretty scary attacker too.
Yeah.
Definitely a strong card. I like this. That's a fun little 6-drop right there. But you're right, power and toughness wise, a bit underwhelming
Right.
for 6 mana, but still, especially in white, that primarily has very efficient creatures. But I mean, that's a strong enrage effect, so you have to balance it there. All right, next we have Deadeye Quartermaster, 3 and a blue, human pirate, and when it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an equipment or a vehicle card. Wait a second. Vehicles are coming back. Is that right? I didn't
Hmm.
even notice that. And put
Ships.
it into your hand. If you do, shuffle your library. So, uh, it's only a 2/2. It's 4 mana. Not great, but it is a pirate, and it's card advantage. So, this is still going to be a good card in limited, especially since it finds vehicles for you too. So, I actually like this card a lot. I have a good feeling about this card. And
It reminds.
you find
Oh,
what's perfect about it is you're finding the equipment, right, or the vehicle. Your 2/2 body is perfect for either of those things, either to
mm,
equip the equipment to, or to, uh, what's the name of the thing where you tap the thing, man the
crew.
vehicle,
Crew.
whatever it's called, where you're getting inside of the vehicle. I forget what it.
You're crewing it.
Oh, crewing. There we
Yeah.
go. Crewing the vehicle. Either way,
Crew.
you're getting the body for it. So, what do you think, Jamie?
Yeah. This reminds me of Trophy Mage, but like a little different because it's more expensive, but you can find whatever mana cost. So I think that's pretty good. If you have like a bomb vehicle, like I know Smuggler's Copter isn't in this set, but like something like that, I mean, that's great.
Yes.
So, um,
That is actually interesting. It's 1 more mana than the Trophy Mage was. But what was Trophy Mage? It was 3 converted mana cost or something?
yes.
Okay.
So it was very specific.
Yes, this is less specific, hence why it's a little more expensive. Plus, once again, relevant creature type for the format, so that might actually mean something as well. We'll have to see. All right, next we have Boneyard Parley. This is 5 and 2 black, so 7 mana, mythic sorcery. Exile up to 5 target creature cards from graveyards. An opponent separates those cards into 2 piles. Put all cards from the pile of your choice onto the battlefield under your control, and the rest into their owners' graveyards. Okay, Jamie, what do we think of this one?
It's so expensive.
It is.
Um, eh, are there actually gonna be 5 creatures by the time you cast this? Probably, but are they gonna be great creatures? I don't know. And then your opponent gets to decide. I don't like it. It's too many factors.
Well, you get to ultimately make the decision on which pile, but you're right. Your opponent, it's the factor fiction. It's basically like a factor fiction for creatures in graveyards, hence why it costs 7 mana because I mean, think about it this way. The least amount of creatures you're ever going to get, if there's 5 creatures total, the least amount you could get would be 2 if you wanted to choose the pile of 2, because you have to assume most of the time they're going to split it into 2 or 3. But you can always choose that pile of 3. Sometimes they're going to do 4 and 1 if it's 4 bad creatures and 1 bomb. So I think this card is pretty powerful. It's going to be a great. I think it's going to be a great top deck. It's one of those like, how do we possibly win? And then you top deck Boneyard Parley, and it's like, oh yeah, I have this card in my deck. So I'm just going to choose the 5 most powerful cards. They're going to separate it. I'm going to take the flyer and the big bomb ground threat. So now I have 2 bomb creatures. I think Boneyard Parley is definitely powerful. First pickable. Does it survive the 7 mana test? That's tough to say. Like you said, is there ever going to be a time where maybe you have 7 mana and you don't even have 5 targets? Probably, right? So,
Yeah.
I still think it's a very powerful effect. This seems like a real big, swingy game changer. I personally like Boneyard Parley, and I'm excited to run it in limited.
It could be amazing, but it can also do like almost nothing. So that's what like makes me nervous.
It does have a requirement, and sometimes, honestly, getting 2 or 3 creatures still may not be enough to win when you're
Yeah.
in certain spots. So, it does not read win the game,
No.
contrary to what you might think. Okay. What do we have next? Star of Extinction, 5 and 2 red, mythic sorcery, destroy target land. Star of Extinction deals 20 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. So this is kind of cool, little homage to the meteor crash that killed all the dinosaurs, we have to assume. I like it. Cool card, 7 mana, board wipe, and you get to destroy one of their lands. Pretty big setback, and it blows up planeswalkers too, which is kind of cool. I think this card's good. Would I first pick it? It's a 7 mana board wipe. That can be tough to get to. So for that reason, I don't think it's like insane. Um, but it also does, because it deals damage, it's going to hit those enrage effects. So, for example, like
Yeah,
Suncrowned Hunter, you could
it's
still end
interesting.
up taking 3 damage from that or something. Regardless, would I first pick Star of Extinction? I don't actually know. I think I would probably first pick a cheaper removal spell over top of it. But I could see myself first picking it just because it is a unique, fairly powerful effect.
Yeah. 20 damage seems a little excessive, but sure.
Yeah, totally. If you have
Um,
Stuffy Doll out, it just kills your opponent. That's kind of cool.
so it's red. Aren't you trying to like be aggressive and build your board and stuff too? You know, like I don't know. You're gonna kill all your creatures as well, but with the enrage, I guess it kind of adds a different
I see what you're saying.
aspect.
Usually red is more of an aggressive color, and especially
Right.
in limited. Maybe this format will be more of big, stompy, fat dinosaurs or something. So maybe it'll be a little bit slower for
Yeah.
red, or maybe there will at least be like a red-green sort of beats dinosaur rampy deck, in which Star of Extinction seems a little bit more realistic. And once again, as you mentioned earlier, maybe you'll have some treasure cards, so it'll be like I'll ramp into my Star of Extinction and get value, get that good value. And who knows, maybe there's some indestructible creatures too, so you can sort of play with this in that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, next we have Carnage Tyrant. 4 and 2 green for 7/6 Mythic Dinosaur. It can't be countered, and it has Trample and Hexproof. Jamie, opinion on this little bad boy?
I am so in. Trample Hexproof 7/6. Yes.
Can't be
I don't
countered
really
is
care
what
about
it
the
means
first
here.
part. I mean, that's
Yeah,
kind of like a bonus, but whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm first picking this boy.
Now, does it feel mythic to you? For some reason, I don't get like a mythic feel from it. It's obviously extremely powerful. It's very efficient.
Yeah,
It has a
like
lot
a
of
rare,
abilities. But
not mythic.
when I think mythic, I think of like crazy unique effect. I'm not,
Yeah.
this isn't screaming crazy unique to me. It's just screaming big fat dinosaur butt, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how they assign rarities for real. It's
Yeah,
always
neither
kind
do
of
I.
like
I get confused
mind-boggling.
by the mythic and rares, but yes, obviously this card is very powerful. 6 mana, 7/6 trample hexproof is quite insane. So, all right, next we have a named vampire. Here we go, Mavren Fein, the Dusk Apostle, 2 and a white, 2/2, legendary vampire cleric, rare creature. Whenever one or more non-token vampires you control attack, you get a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. So this card's fun. Whenever it attacks, you're going to get one. It's one or more, so it doesn't matter if you attack with 5 or 1 vampires. You're only going to get one uh, 1/1 white vampire creature token. And it's non-token vampires, also important. So you can't just swing with your little token to get another token. It doesn't work like that. So very good card, I think. It is a 3 mana 2/2, obviously not that great, and it's a legend, so you can't do any broken things with like copying Mavren Fein or having multiple copies in your deck for standard purposes. But making more vampires probably good for an aggressive tribe, wouldn't you say, Jamie?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is great. If you're in that go wide strategy with the dinosaur above it.
It's got that's a good point, and just putting all the counters on them, that'd be
Yes.
pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Um, So yeah. You know what's nice is even getting them as like blockers. The little
Yeah.
1/1 lifelink blocker is really nice. It's like you're attacking me with your 8/8. All right, let's just block that. I'll gain a life. I'll lose that. Whatever. I can smash back, get another chump blocker. So this is a really good card. I think Mavren Fein is very good. I do notice that he's not particularly good of attacking on his own, being a 2/2. So it's more like you want one of your flying vampires to sort of get in and net you the 1/1s, but who knows? Maybe there's some way to make it evasive in some way.
Yeah. Like if there's some sort of like flying enchantment or something.
Yeah, maybe this card actually is one of those cards that works well with the 6 mana 4/4 flying vampire too. Not only can you get in with that vampire, but it makes a little army to resurrect itself later
Yeah.
with the 1/1s. All right, next we have Kopala, Warden of Waves, 1 and 2 blue, 2/2, legendary Merfolk Wizard rare. Spells your opponent's cast that target a merfolk you control cost 2 more to cast, and abilities your opponents activate that target a merfolk you control cost 2 more to activate. So, Jamie, what do you think about this little protection rare dude?
It seems great. Yeah, if you're in Merfolk, just get one of these guys, protect everybody on your team. Seems great.
Make removal spells more expensive. So, are we
Yep.
seeing a little theme here with these legendary creatures so far? And I see some more coming up as well with the Captain Lannery Storm, but 3 mana 2/2 legendary creatures with strong abilities. So very, very little interesting cycle here. Are we going to see one in every color? I guess we'll have to keep going to see. But yeah, I agree. Kopala seems like a cool card. Are we going to see it make its way into the fish deck in Legacy, the Merfolk Legacy? Probably not quite good enough.
Is that offensive calling them fish?
I as long as I would never say it to their face, only behind their back. But yes, Kopala, Warden of Waves, pretty interesting card in general. From a limited perspective, it's not like a bomb, but making
No.
removal more expensive, targeted removal is kind of cool, and something that actually affects your opponent's abilities that target is kind of interesting too. Just because there's not a ton of activated abilities that I know of that actually even target your opponent's creatures for value, mostly like pingers historically. So that's just sort of a bit niche, I would say. But still, it's got a bonus effect. It's a cool card. I probably wouldn't first pick it. Not quite exciting enough for me, unlike Mavren Fein. But still, definitely, if you're already in a Merfolk deck, you get it past, I would probably take it.
Yeah.
All right, Revel in Riches, 4 and a black, rare enchantment. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, create a colorless treasure artifact token with sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So this is the treasure artifacts Jamie was talking about earlier. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 10 or more treasures, you win the game. So first and foremost, cards that read anytime with anything, if they say win the game on them, they immediately spark my interest because like, is that a build around? Are we going to see it? What do you think about this one, Jamie? Is this realistic to get to 10
Uh,
treasures with?
Maybe. I mean, we don't know. Like, if you're just producing it this way, no. I mean, I think you have to put in other ways to make treasures, right?
I agree. Yes.
Um, and 10 seems pretty steep, but who knows? Like, we haven't seen the whole set yet. It's interesting. That actually does say you win the game on the card, right?
Yes. So
So,
I think it's kind of cool, but you're right. It's a 5 mana enchantment. It's kind of weird to me that it's in black. I guess it's sort of an evil, greedy effect, so maybe that's why it's in black. But I like that it has a way to generate treasures. I do you think in all of the drafts you do on Ixalan, you're ever going to lose against Revel and Riches? That's the real question. Are you ever going to lose against this card unlimited, do you think?
I mean, if you put it with the wrath effects, maybe. I'm not sure.
I
10
feel
is a
like
lot.
I feel like this is a pretty tough one to win with
What?
unlimited.
And you might be using it to ramp yourself. Like, are you even using it for the second part of it? I'm not sure.
I guess that's a good point too. It's not like you have to do it to try and win off treasures, although come on, that's the exciting way to play it. You obviously want to win with your 10 treasures, but you're right, you can use it to fix or ramp as well. Although if you're paying 5 mana to do something that maybe, helps ramp a little bit, that seems a little bit sad that you had to get to 5 mana and then kill your opponent's creatures to ramp or fix or whatever, but
Right.
sometimes you just need that extra mana, so it can do more than it just win you the game if you get 10 or more. It does something else too. Alright. Next is Captain Lannery Storm. 2 and a red, 2/2, legendary human pirate creature. It's rare. It has haste. Whenever it attacks, create a treasure token, and whenever you sacrifice a treasure, Captain Lannery Storm gets +1/+0 until end of turn. What do you think, Jamie?
I'm not that excited.
Me neither.
Because, like, when you attack with it, it's going to be able to trade for too much stuff. I mean, maybe it's good on turn 3 if your opponent didn't play a 2-drop, but then you're, like, ramping yourself. But I don't know. It doesn't seem great.
I'm not super excited either. I do think that it's cool that it's a red ramp spell. We don't see that very often. And I kind of wish it was whenever you sack a treasure, it's +1/+1 until end of turn. Then it would at least
Yeah.
be a 3 mana, like 3/3 the first turn. I guess it would be every turn you attack with it if you sacked the treasure. So maybe that would just be too good. But it is also a legend, so it's not like you can just jam 4 of these in your deck and hope to go to town with her. But 3 mana, 3 power, haste. I'm going to sign up for Captain Lannery Storm. I would take her. If you're in your all-out aggro red, you're going to be happy to have your 3 mana, 3 power, hasty attacker. But yeah, other than that, not super exciting. I guess which of the 3 mana 2/2 legends, which is your favorite so far?
I mean, the vampire, I just feel like that's so good.
Yeah. Making the vampires is pretty good. I might
Yeah.
actually go with Lannery Storm. It depends on how quick the format is. Because I'm a little bit unsure as of now.
Right.
But yeah, I think Captain Lannery Storm is actually pretty legit. 3 mana, 2/2 haste, not that exciting, but remember, you're attacking with it, you can make it a 3/2. So 3 mana, 3/2 haste is legit. That's legitimately good. It is a legend, like I said. That does make it a little bit worse, but yes, I would jam Captain Lannery Storm, and I'd probably first pick her too. I think she's probably good enough. We have like On-Crop Crasher, right? I guess On-Crop
Yeah.
Crasher is probably, yeah, On-Crop Crasher is better than Captain Lannery Storm.
Yeah.
So if we're looking at it from that perspective, I would say the Crasher is more for what the aggro deck wants to do. But once again, I like that Lannery Storm can also get you those treasure, so it can let you play a turn 4 5-drop in red, which is pretty unusual. Okay, next we have Old Growth Dryads. 1 green for a 3/3 rare Dryad creature, and when it enters the battlefield, each opponent may search his or her library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle his or her library. So this is a pretty big downside if you play it on turn 1, letting your opponent potentially play a turn 1 2-drop or a turn 2 3-drop. is pretty bad news. So ultimately, I think this card is not so good. It's not even that exciting of a top deck on turn 9 or 10 because it's just
Yeah.
a 3/3 at that point. So you want to play it early, but if you play it early, you ramp them, which isn't good. So personally, I'm not a big fan of old growth Dryads. How about you, Jamie?
Yeah, that's too much of a cost. That's pretty scary. And like, what if you're helping them get their fixing card? Like if they're splashing and you're like, oh, here's your free splash,
Yeah,
find it.
exactly.
That's really scary.
It is. I agree. So old growth Dryads, not a huge fan. Although if you want to be everyone's friend in EDH, you could play old growth Dryads. And then
There
they'd be like,
you
okay, thanks. I guess we won't attack you for a while. You helped me ramp.
go.
All right. Next we have Sanguine Sacrament. This is X and 2 white, rare instant. You gain twice X life. Put Sanguine Sacrament on the bottom of its owner's library. What do you think, Jamie?
I'm never really excited about life gain spells.
Me neither. Why don't we do some math on it quick though? So let's say X is 3. You pay 5 mana to gain 6 life. Where does it really come up good? If you pay 7 mana, you get to gain 10 life. So it is like, I guess it does get a bit better as you have more mana. But you're right, it's just life gain in general, primarily not that exciting. Although this does let your deck sort of go infinite too. You can never, if this is actually kind of relevant sometimes for limited. As long as you're casting this and it's the last card in your deck, you never deck, right? Because you're always putting it back on the bottom of its owner's library.
Sure.
So it's one way to bypass, I guess, decking yourself, if that's an actual concern in this format. Some formats are grindier than others, but that's usually not a massive concern. But I agree with your statement. Never particularly excited about life gain effects. And this being a rare, too, is going to be a bit of a disappointment if you open it as your rare. However, let's talk about this next card, which is much more exciting. Entrancing Melody, 2 blue and X, gain control of target creature with converted mana cost X. So obviously mind control effects are always phenomenal in limited. And this one is even better, in my view, from my perspective, because it's actually a sorcery. So usually when we see these control magic mind control effects, they're an enchantment. Therefore, your opponent could have like an anti-enchantment spell and get their creature back. This is just like, no, mine, and there's no way to get it back. So I
Yeah.
like it. Very good.
Yeah. And it's so versatile. Gets better as the game goes on. It's great.
Definitely. Sometimes you're just going to have to pay 4 mana to steal a 2-drop. But sometimes you're going to top deck this and be like, oh, thank God, I'll tap 9 and I'll steal your 7-drop. And then they'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, man, bummer.
It's pretty
So,
brutal.
very, very good. I like the Entrancing Melody a lot. All right, next we have Deadeye Tracker. 1 black for a 1/1 rare human pirate creature. And it's got 1 black. Tap, exile 2 target cards from an opponent's graveyard. Deadeye Tracker explores, which is another new mechanic to look at. Reveal the top card of your library. Put that card into your hand if it's a land. Otherwise, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Then put the card back or put it into your graveyard. So there's actually a lot going on with this mechanic, right? We've got you're revealing the top card of your library, so you're getting information, your opponent's getting information. You're putting it into your hand if it's a land. If it's not a land, you're getting a +1/+1 counter, and then if it is or isn't, you can put that card back or put it on top or in your graveyard. So I actually like Explore a lot. What do you think about this card in particular, Jamie?
Well, so you have to exile 2 target cards. So in the early game, it's not going to be that good, right? Because they're not going to have cards in their graveyard.
Yes.
But as the game goes on, it seems like it'd be better because you get the explore ability. But like as a creature, like you're never going to get it big enough, fast enough for it to affect the board that much. But the
True.
explorer is very good.
So it's not a beater. So
Mm-mm.
it's more of just like a black value card. But the fact that
Yeah.
it's a rare is actually kind of weird to me. I would think of it as probably not busted enough where you could probably just play it as an uncommon. But they made it rare, so maybe it's more than the eye can see here. You know what I mean? Maybe it's better than it looks. So I'm excited to see how this explore mechanic works. It seems like a cool kind of mechanic. it's not really card advantage, but at the same time, it's like netting you value and making your card quality better. So I
Yeah.
like it. I think Explorer is good and flavorfully fitting for what we would expect pirates to have as well. So kind of cool in that respect. All right, next we have Burning Sun's avatar. So we saw the white avatar earlier. This is the red one. 3 and 3 red for a 6/6 rare dinosaur avatar. And when it enters the battlefield, it deals 3 damage to target opponent and 3 damage to up to 1 target creature. Okay, yeah, this one I'm much more excited about than the white one. 6 mana, 6/6, comes in, kills something, burns your opponent. A lot of stuff going on, a great cost, so I would say this is significantly better than the white one. What do you think?
Yes. Well, I mean, I think the white one's insane, but you have to like build around it. Like this is just so good on its own.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point. Once again, though, the 8 mana on that white one is just so tough to get to.
Oh wait, I thought we were talking about the dinosaur that gave counters. Never mind.
Well, this
We're talking
one,
about the 8 mana one.
no, no. I was saying, I was comparing this one to the 8 mana one. 8 mana, too
Yeah,
much. This one being 6 mana is actually like crazy good.
it is crazy. Yeah, no, for sure.
Hyper efficient. So, yes, this is a slam dunk first pick. No thought necessary. You open Burning Sun's avatar, you take it, and you're happy about it.
Yeah.
Wait a second. I felt like the other one was mythic. Wait a second. It is mythic. So why is the white one that's 8 mana mythic, and then in the same cycle we have just a rare one? That's
Well, I
extremely
mean,
strange. And I would argue that the red one is better anyway. So, very, very strange.
the wrath effects are super strong, but we're not sure how it's going to be in this format.
Yeah, no
Maybe
kidding.
it's really important.
I stand by the red one's better than the white one, so it is strange to me that the white, especially within the same cycle. I don't know if I've ever even seen that before, where you have a cycle of cards where one's mythic and one's rare. It's very weird.
Yeah.
All right, next we have Shaper's Sanctuary. 1 green, rare enchantment. Whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. So what do you think about this effect, Jamie? Strong enough?
I mean, it's only 1 mana. I'm not sure.
It's or ability, too.
Yeah. It seems like it could be pretty powerful or just like keep your opponents, like make them think about using spells or abilities on you. I don't know.
Maybe
I'm,
sideboard? What about
I'm
limited
intrigued.
sideboard?
Yeah.
They're playing the removal dot deck, and then you're like,
Right.
okay, we'll bring in the Shaper's Sanctuary. What do you think of that? So, yeah, outside of sideboard, I probably wouldn't main deck it. Probably
No.
not. Especially since we haven't really, have we seen any removal spells yet? I feel like we've just seen a bunch of creatures
No.
and stuff.
Well,
So,
we're in the rares right
oh,
now.
I see. Okay. Well, these are always the most exciting to look at anyway.
Right.
Next we have Kinjalli's Sunwing. This is 2 and a white, rare 2/3 dinosaur creature, flying. Creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. I like this card. I think this is a really good effect. If you're playing any sort of white beatdown deck, that's a pretty big disadvantage. They can't just play their
Yes.
creature and block with it.
Yep. Has evasion. It's a dinosaur. Sign me up. I'm ready.
Yep. Big fan of the Sunwing. I think this is definitely a great card. I want to almost say this could potentially see standard constructed, but maybe I'm speaking too soon here. But the only reason I say that is if you're some sort of white weenie beatdown deck, I could see that effect being pretty strong. Like you're setting them back on a blocker a turn, which is pretty
Yeah.
big when you're
It's huge.
swinging for as much damage as you can starting on turn 1. So I like it. All right. Next we have Herald of Secret Streams. This is a 3 and a blue 2/3 rare Merfolk Warrior creature. Creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them can't be blocked. What do you think, Jamie?
That's a pretty powerful effect. We haven't seen any +1/+1 counter things yet. So it depends on how many of those are available. But yeah, if they can't be blocked, that's huge.
So let's look at creatures, because remember, it's not just Merfolk creatures you control, it's all
Right.
creatures. So we have seen a couple cards, the ones being Deadeye Tracker if it successfully
Sure.
explores. We've seen the, I feel like there was one other one too.
The white that dinosaur puts counters on creatures. That would be
Oh
insane.
my god, Bellowing Aegisaur
Yeah.
and that card are pretty busted together. Wow.
Yeah, the
Yeah, that's really
vampire
good.
right
The
there was.
Blood-crazed Paladin guy,
Mhm.
he does it. And the Rowdy Crew, That does it. Whatever this
Yep.
thing is. No, this one's just +1/+1, not a counter. But yeah, so there are a few cards we've already seen that work well with it. I think this card, you're right, is probably pretty nuts. So that's a strong effect, and the fact that it's kind of the surprise factor of it, right? Say you already have a couple creatures that have +1/+1 counters, and then you're like, okay, Herald of Secret Streams. Now I'm smashing into you with my buffed guys, and you can't block them.
Right.
So I
That's
like
huge.
it. This is a great card. Next we have Fathom Fleet Captain. 1 in a black, 2/1, rare human pirate. It's got menace, and whenever it attacks, if you control another non-token pirate, you may pay 2. If you do, create a 2/2 black pirate creature token with menace. So kind of a lot going on with this card, but I think it's phenomenal. This is a phenomenal card. It's not a legend. It's not a legend, so you can have multiple of these, and whenever it attacks, just pay 2, and you get another 2/2 menace creature. So it's tough to block with the evasion, and on top of that, you're making more pirates. This is one of those cards where if you're already ahead, it just gets too nuts. It's just like, you have 2 blockers. All right, one of your guys can't block. I'll use a removal spell. I'll attack with my captain. I'll pay 2. I'll get another menace, and then it just starts to steamroll after that. It's like, now I have multiple menace creatures. You're going to have much more of a hard time blocking. I'm going to pay more, get more menace pirates. So I'm a big fan of this card. What do you think, Jamie?
It seems really good early, but as the game goes on, it's going to be, easier for your opponent to block, and then it's not going to do as much as you want it to do.
Well, let's look at
But
it as just the surface without, let's say it doesn't have the token making ability. Would you
sure.
be happy playing a 2-mana, 2/1 menace?
Yes.
I think I would. Personally, I would.
Yeah. No, it's great. If you drop it on turn 2, it's amazing.
Yeah.
If you drop it later in the game, meh.
Not as exciting, but I would still
Yeah.
argue pretty good. I
Yeah,
like the
no, it's
Fathom
still
Fleet
great.
Captain, and it's a pirate too, of course. And he's shirtless. Look at him. He's red hair. He's shirtless. He's got a big bulging chest hanging out there. All right. Next is Angrath's Marauders. 5 and 2 red, 4/4 human pirate, rare creature. If a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage to that permanent or player instead. Wow, Jamie, what do you think of that one?
In red, that seems like insane because you're
Yeah.
just burning all the time,
Oh
right?
yeah. 7
But
mana though.
7 mana, yep.
Does it pass that 7 mana test as your first pickable card here?
I don't know. It makes everything do double damage?
Yeah.
So that seems pretty good.
Yeah, I think so too. This is a tough one. This is going to be a real tough choice to pick first if you've got a pack that's got something efficient, some 3 mana
Right.
awesome burn spell or something, because you're going to be really tempted to just take this guy, but 7 mana, and it's only a 4/4, so this is really tough. This is a tough card to first pick.
Sorry.
I'm going to win with and lose against this card enough where I probably am just going to be like, okay, take it.
Well, yeah, in red, I think that's what you want, but the 7 mana is just, it's hard to get past.
It's big. That's
Yeah.
very, very big cost. And a 4/4 for 7 is tremendously unexciting. So that's difficult. But once again, the surprise factor alone of a card like this is pretty nuts. You have a full army, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay. Play the Marauders. Now all of my guys deal double damage. So I'm probably going to end up first picking it and seeing what happens. But yeah, this is a tough one. This just is good enough to pass the 7 mana first pick test for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, next we have Verdant Sun's Avatar, 5 and 2 green, 5/5 rare dinosaur avatar creature, so it's part of that cycle. Whenever it or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. So what I like about this card is that it's a 7 mana 5/5 gain 5, which is good. So it's kind of doing its job of, okay, I survived long enough to play this card. Now I get to presumably survive a bit longer because I gain life, and all my future creature plays are going to gain me life too. So in terms of like a rampy, stompy deck, that's really the effect you want your big fat fatties to do, is gain you a ton of life. So I like it. But does it pass the 7 mana test for me? I don't know. What do you think, Jamie?
I don't know either. I mean, if it was 6 mana, you would slam it, right?
Yeah.
Like you'd be like, "Oh my God, this is crazy." But that 1 extra mana really does make a
It
difference.
makes a huge difference. It does.
Yeah,
I don't know. And it's only a 5/5 for 7. In green,
right.
our expectations are a little bit higher on our 7 drops. We want them to
Yeah,
like
but
at
then
least be a 6/6 or at least be a 7/7. So
when you gain 5 life and then you keep playing creatures, like that seems great, right?
yes.
I don't know.
But is it good
I
enough
don't know.
to first pick? I'm not sure yet. I am less excited by it than I am by Angrath's Marauders, only because the Marauders I feel like you drop it and you already have an army, and it's unexpected, and all of a sudden your whole team just deals double damage and kills your opponent. Whereas
Yeah.
Sun's Avatar is like, hold on a second, now I get to live longer to maybe beat you. So it's kind of a different little role that it's playing there. So I don't know if I would first pick Verdant Sun's Avatar if there was something cheaper and a little bit better removal-wise in the pack. Next we have Tokatli Honor Guard. 1 and a white, 1/3 rare human soldier. Creatures entering the battlefield don't cause abilities to trigger. All right, Jamie, what are some of the applications you see for this?
I don't understand why you would want that in limited.
Maybe it's more of a constructed sideboard card.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's for things like, could it be like Kiki Jiki? Because that causes... Wait, no, that doesn't work. I'm trying to think of something that this... Some combo-y thing this stops. So creatures enter the... okay, don't cause abilities to trigger. So that would, for example, turn off Verdant Sun's Avatar, because this is
Right.
causing an ability to trigger. But yeah, you're right. Like, doesn't it seem a little bit niche what it's doing?
Yeah. I don't think you're going to see much of it in limited. I mean, it might be a sideboard card, yeah, against... I don't know. I can't. I don't know.
I don't think it's that great.
No.
Like, if we click on it, maybe a commenter will say what it stops. A Torpor Orb that doesn't get taxed by Thalia. Okay, so it's similar to Torpor Orb. Let's see here. Okay, I guess so it pointed out... Okay. So a good example from this format that someone just mentioned. That green 1-drop 3/3 that we talked about. So it's nice that that would enter and then your opponent wouldn't ramp because it stops like a negative effect from your efficient creature. But that's like a best case scenario, still not that exciting.
Yeah.
Next is River's Rebuke, 4 and 2 blue, sorcery, rare. Return all non-land permanents target player controls to their owner's hand. This is like, this is one of those real feel-bad cards in limited where it's just like, once again, it's another one of those, God, there's no way I can win. They have too many blockers, and then you top deck River's Rebuke, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, 6 mana, bounce your old thing, now I'll kill you.
And it kills all their tokens.
Yeah.
It's
This is
first pick.
This
Slam
is
it.
bonkers
Take
in
it.
limited. It's one of those real feel-bad cards to play
Yeah.
against. So, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say they shouldn't have printed this card. This is one of those cards where it's just gonna bug me in limited anytime I play against it, and anytime you have it in limited, you're gonna be like, oh, thank God for River's Rebuke. So, a bit too good. Yes,
Yeah.
slam first pick, and it's gonna be an annoying way to lose in limited, definitely. Especially when you've like just think about all those times it's gonna be like, oh, thank God, I've made it. I've put down the final blocker I needed, so we're good. And then they're just like, River's Rebuke? Bounce everything? Real jerk card, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, next is Ruin Raider, 2 and a black, 3/2 Orc Pirate rare. Ooh, Orc. Haven't seen an Orc in a while. And then it has Raid, which is a mechanic we've seen from the Tarkir format, right? Tarker format, whatever. At the beginning of your end step, if you attacked with a creature this turn, reveal the top card of your library, put that card into your hand. You lose life equal to that card's convert mana cost. I think this is a phenomenal card. I actually think this is a really, really strong card. Jamie, what do you think?
I mean, you have to be a little careful because if your life total is getting low, it's not a May, is it? You definitely are going to lose life.
Yes, you're right.
I guess you don't have to attack if you're low.
But
you kind of want to finish out a
this card
game.
that's kind of cool, especially for the aggro decks, if you're like topping out at 4 mana, you attack with your 2-drop, and then on turn 3 you play this. That end step, you get that effect. So
Yeah.
this is actually really strong. 3 mana, 3
Yeah.
power. I'm gonna attack with my 2-drop. Turn 3, attack with my 2-drop. Play this, draw a card. A lot of advantage coming out of this card. But you're right. can end up dealing possibly too much damage to you.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Well,
I'm
it was
definitely
kind
gonna
of
first pick it.
it was kind of the reason that like Dark Confidant was worse in Limited than it was in Constructed. Because in Constructed, you were like, okay, my whole deck is gonna be 1 or 2 mana, so Dark Confidant's never gonna really like smoke me too bad. But with Ruin Raider, it's like you're probably gonna have a 4 or a 5 drop in your deck, so you have to be much more careful. But also keep in mind, like 40% of the time, you should be hitting lands anyway, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think overall this is a great card. I think Rune Raider is very, very good.
Absolutely.
Okay. We'll finish this row, and I think we're going to call it quits for this spoiler video, but we'll do Sunbird's Invocation, which is a 5 and a red, 6 mana rare enchantment. Whenever you cast a spell from your hand, reveal the top X cards of your library where X is that spell's converted mana cost. You may cast a card revealed this way with converted mana cost X or less without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So let's kind of establish what's going on here. You have a 6 mana enchantment. Then whenever you cast a spell, you get to reveal X cards of your library. So let's say you cast another 6-drop spell. You get to reveal the top 6 cards of your library, and then cast a card revealed this way with X or less without paying its mana cost. So it's like turning your spells into more free spells. I think this is actually a strong card. What do you think, Jamie?
It's 6 mana.
Yes.
And then after that, like, you don't get anything when you put it on the board,
True.
right?
Doesn't immediately affect the board.
I don't like cards like that usually, but it's pretty impressive that you get to cast spells for free.
Yes.
Am I going to first pick it? Probably not.
I don't actually know yet. This is an exciting card. There's something about this card that excites me. I like the idea that, I mean, granted it is much less exciting with like your 1 and 2 drop spells, because then it's just like reveal the top card, and then that has to go to the bottom if it doesn't match up with what you're doing. And it is cast a card, which I believe does not include lands. I think it has to say play a card to include lands. So this does not include lands, so it's going to only make other spells playable. So you're right, it's a little bit expensive for not doing anything immediately, but that effect for some reason really does excite me. This is a really fun EDH card, I will say that. Just get you a bunch of free spells off other spells. So cool in that respect, but you're right, probably not a first pick. All right, and finally, we're going to end with an exciting Merfolk rare here. Waker of the Wilds, 2 and 2 green for a 3/3 rare Merfolk Shaman creature. Then it has X and 2 green. Put X +1/+1 counters on target land you control. That land becomes a 0/0 elemental creature with haste. It's still a land. So how about this card with that Herald of Secret Streams? Yeah, is that what you were thinking too?
I was just thinking about that. I was like, ooh.
So pretty nasty.
Because then the counters stay on the land, right? So you can just keep making the land bigger and bigger.
Yeah, you're right. For some reason, I didn't even think about it in that way. I was thinking about it like each turn doing it to a different land. But you're right. This
well, you could, yeah.
Yeah, but
you could build an army.
But you're right too. Like, what's nasty about this card is, I'm going to attack with 2 different lands that I've made. Okay, you didn't block that. You didn't block this one. Okay, I'll put a bunch more counters on the one that you didn't block. So you can just instant speed make it even bigger once it's unblocked, or once it's blocked even. Say you're attacking with 2 3/3. You have all your open mana. You attack with 2 3/3 lands. They block both of them. You can be like, okay, I'll pay 3 mana to buff this one. I'll pay 4 mana to buff this one. So it's real nasty. I think Waker of the Wilds is just a limited bomb, an absolute limited bomb. And it's a 4 mana 3/3 at worst. So it's doing a lot of work. Super strong cards. Turning your lands into win cons. I mean, what more can you ask for from a card, really?
Not too much.
Not much more than that. All right, Jamie, we've been talking for an hour. We barely scratched the surface, but I guess we got through quite a few cards. But plenty more to come along the way. I'm going to try and keep these videos just around an hour just to see what you guys think. Jamie, thanks so much for coming and joining me for this. This is a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me.
Please check her out on Twitch. You can find the link to her Twitch in the video description. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. and we're all stoked for new formats. I mean, new formats are always exciting, so glad you could be here with us while we go through spoilers. All right, we'll see you all later. Bye, Jamie.
Bye.